What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Positive Black Space. I'm so glad you came to join us today. If you are a returning family member, I want to say welcome back. If you're new here, thank you so much for joining us today. And if you want to and you like this type of content as you watch this video, go ahead and hit that subscribe button and make sure that you're turning your notifications on so that you won't miss not one of our episodes. I'm super duper excited about today's show. It's going to be an amazing show. We're talking about some things that is going to benefit you. I truly, truly believe, and I have a very special guest. I'm so excited. It's going to be a great time. What's up, everybody? Now, I told you I had a very special guest to come to us today to talk about a topic that I really feel is very, very vital and very important. She is an entrepreneur. She is a financial advisor, credit specialist. She is a beautiful wife, mother, an awesome friend. I am so glad that she's here today. So we welcome today Miss Adrienne Crutchfield. I'm so excited that you came to join us today. We are so happy. So today we're going to talk about credit. Now I know it's a very touchy topic for a lot of people, and I know that it's something that you have been on a journey helping people, build their credit and all those things. And really, I wanted to bring you on because I feel like it's a vital conversation that we need to have, and taking the stigma off of like building your credit and not the shame of maybe not being fortunate enough to have somebody teach you and you being an expert and being able to help people with that. Like, what has that journey been like for you? What even made you start in this business and developing an idea of like, let me get involved in actually helping people build their credit? What made you even do that?
Having bad credit.
Okay.
I think started young.
Yeah.
My mom and dad have always had good credit.
Yeah.
But it was never taught.
Okay. Yeah, that makes it like so their credit was good, but they didn't teach you the fundamentals of how to build your own.
Correct. I mean, I started school, college, and shoot, they had tables and tables of come apply. And, that's how it all started. Like going to college, I filled out my first application.
Yeah.
As soon as you said student, I think we got approved right away.
Yeah.
So I think I had like 2 or 3. Felt like, oh, I'm a baller. Oh, I got credit cards.
So student loans. So you
not even student loans. I haven't even started because at this point I was at a JC.
Okay.
So this was just applying for credit cards.
That is something that I think is important for us to talk about, and we'll touch into that too, because with like the next generation and teaching your kids, because you didn't have anybody say, hey, like, that's not what you do.
Right.
This will affect you later, because I think we don't think, especially when you're young, so because you were like, well, how old? Like in your
17, 18. So
you just trying to make some money. Like, you just want to have money. You just want to be cool. You're not thinking, we don't think long term, right? Like, oh, you weren't thinking like, okay, 10 years from now, how is this going to affect me? Or is this going to affect me? You know what I mean?
Looking back, I mean, I used to go to the store and my mom would be like, okay, charge it. They never got the concept of, who's going to pay that?
Right.
Is it a due date? If you don't have a job,
right.
Which most students don't,
right?
How am I going to pay this? Because even with student loans, you don't get that monthly.
Right.
So
That's
not
true.
even thinking about that. And then you ask your mom and dad, hey, can I borrow?
Yeah.
Now here we go again. Borrowing.
Mm-hmm.
Not thinking even credit is a borrowing situation. But no one teaches this. Yeah, we take economics in high school.
Yeah.
However, never touch on the basic of if you borrow, you got to pay back.
Yeah. I like that that you're saying, and I feel like especially in the Black community, that's something that we struggle with. Like, would you say like most of the clients that you're helping, are they not like African American people that most are like struggling because, and it's not for like I don't feel like it's not for a lack or a desire of having good credit. It's just not having the knowledge, right? The tools, and I feel like you saying that, being very transparent. Like I had bad credit, so I knew like deal, and then making those choices, which weren't the best choices, which we all have done. We all are, have been in that place at one point in our lives where we're like, we're young, like you don't know. And so I think that's great that you decided to say, hey, I had a bad situation. I'm going to learn to fix my own credit. Then on top of that, now I can give the education to someone else. What is the most common thing that you find, a common thread with people that have that credit that you feel like this is something that I see often? Like, what is the biggest thing like you feel like is like a common theme with credit?
What I've noticed so far is student loans. Most people have gone to school, and I think, like even for myself, the first thing I was like, okay, well I'll keep going to school, so I don't have to pay that loan. Because people teach you that part, how to get around. Oh, just defer it. Just keep deferring. But they're not telling you interest is still occurring. They're not telling you, yes, even on your credit report, it still says good. I mean, it's not like marking you negative, but it shows deferment. Yeah. So even when you want to go buy your home, the cars, they see that. Yeah. No one is telling you, people are telling you, oh, defer it back or keep going to school. Yeah. Okay, wonderful. But when you actually have to go purchase a home or when you actually have to go purchase that car, then that's when they kind of say, hey, you're late, or hey, you haven't made a payment. Even like with a home, it's kind of a good and a bad thing because it's not negative, but then it's kind of looked at like, are you going to pay that mortgage? Right. Are you really going to pay that? Right. And when you talk about that, it's almost like, it's really like showing on paper your level of integrity, right? When you think about it in that way, like, okay, are you an integral person, like where you will actually do what you say you're going to do? Like if I give you this money, are you going to actually pay me back what I gave you, and then whatever interest that I say this is what you have to pay me on top of that for using my funds? That you actually are putting on paper who you are. Your credit is representing you, and I think we don't think of it in that way. We're just like, well, nobody wants to help me, or you feeling a way about it because you feel like, dang, like I didn't get a leg up or whatever. So do you find that people push that off, like they're working on their credit, they push that as like a last thing, like, I'll do it later, and then you find out they come later in life and they have all this stuff that they need to take care of? Like, do you feel like it's something that is like people just push to the side often? Of course. Of course. And the reason or even the people I work with, they'll say, okay, well, it's 7 years and it's off. But what people don't know is it takes 90 days for it to even get onto your credit. Right. Okay? When it get on your credit report, and then that collection agency who normally buys your account for like $2, and I mean, I'm not saying really $2, but I they buy it from that Macy's or Nordstrom. And what happens is, what people don't know, a lot of the information that they receive is not even accurate. So when they call you and say, hey, Adrienne, and you say yes, you're admitting that that's yours, even if it's incorrect. So when you say that, it then starts your 7 years that day. Wow. When you say, hello, yes, I'll make that payment or whatever. So instead of saying, hey, send me that information in the mail, this is where you'll find out if it's accurate, because sometimes they don't even have your information. Maybe your cousin got your information and applied for, in your name. Wow. And you don't even know. And then this is the thing, it'll go to wherever they apply. Listen, I want y'all to take these nuggets in. Like, you already dropping knowledge right now. Because, people don't think about that. They really think about,
oh my God, like you're already in a panic because you're getting a collection call. Like you're like, oh my God, what is this? I don't know, and we're taught to like be reactive. Like, oh my God, like I can't believe this is happening. And I think a big thing too, do you feel like you see people that are intimidated by their debt and getting it under control so that their credit reflects in good standing? Do you feel like they get intimidated by the whole process? Do you feel like it's like I'm intimidated by having to deal with all of this?
Of course. I mean, I think a lot, and even, I could talk about even myself.
Yeah.
When you get that call, you know you owe it some, and the thing is, shoot, they done caught me. I gotta really pay this.
Yeah, that's the truth.
And the thing is, yes, and the thing is, you be like, okay, I can pay it.
Yeah.
But a lot of people don't know that you can negotiate, because now this is a collection agency. So you don't have to pay all. Sometimes they even put their fee and what they want.
Yeah.
And so that's what I'm saying. Anything that is reported on your report, anything that's reported, they are supposed to get accurate to the cent. If they're 2 cents off, above, below, they have to remove it.
Listen, I'm gonna take these nuggets right here for free credit. We're doing a free credit class right now for our people, because I feel like that's important, because when you don't have the knowledge, you can't stand up for yourself. You can't stand up and say, I have this knowledge. I know you're not supposed to do this, this, and this, but you can go along with the flow, right? Like you just be like, okay, well you said I owe it, so I owe it,
right?
Or I know I spent it, so they must be telling me the truth, like that. Do you feel like that's another thing? Like people just trust creditors, like collection agents, they trust them to be honest. Like, you know what I mean? Like, oh, they gotta be telling me the truth. They know some of my business. Like, is that like, you know what I mean? Like, do you feel like that's something that you run into, like, when you're having to educate people on this information? Like, they just feel like, well, I mean, I feel like they know.
Yeah, well, and the thing is, some do.
Yeah.
Like, even, okay, for an example, what people also don't understand, like when you go to the hospital, medical bills. Medical bills, depending, I think they get a little hip now, but depending on what they report or what they sell to the collection agency, violates the HIPAA law.
Well,
so that's one of the reasons why they can get removed. People be like, oh, that's all I have. Well, also, what people don't know, also with negative, if you don't have any positive, then it's not going to even help your credit score go up. So here go the education part.
Yeah.
We're so worried about getting the negative off
that
the positive we kind of ignore. Like when I did get the credit cards and they went into collection. Well, what we also don't know, the collection, like Macy's and them, they're insured. They get paid off. They're going to get paid.
Right.
So now the thing is, that's how collection agencies come about. Because now they're saying, okay, I'm going to get that debt. But that debt is not really going to Macy's. It's going into their pocket.
Because they've already paid the debt. Now they're working as, this is now my job to get that money. So that I can get my percentage off of what you already spent to me. It's a game. Like, literally, it's a game. And understanding how it works, I think that's valuable what you're saying. Like, you're dropping some serious knowledge on that. And it's important for us to pay attention. I think it's something that I know for me, not having the education, not having anyone break this stuff down to me, it affected me in the long run because I didn't know. Like, I had no idea that I could negotiate. I didn't think, you know what I mean? Those things, those are powerful tools to understand that you have that power to do that. It's like, I can actually say, no, hey, what do you think about this? What do you think about me paying this amount or whatever the case may be? Let me pay off this, that, and third. And I feel like people are just intimidated by the process because you feel like, because what I feel like sometimes people get into a cycle of so much debt, like so much, it swallows them. Like you're like how am I going to get out of this? But there is ways out of there. Like the things that you're saying, the tools, once you get the knowledge and the tools, do you feel like it really changes people's perspective?
It does. And the crazy part is I deal with a lot of people from up, and low.
Mm-hmm.
And the part that hurts on my end
Mm-hmm.
when I help people is I don't have the money.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
and even like with the services I provide,
Mm-hmm.
like I do free consultation.
Okay.
People don't even take free. I'll be like, okay, book. I'll give free. And then like with the business we work with,
Mm-hmm.
which credit attorneys. And how I look at it, like, okay, yes, it is a monthly fee.
Mm-hmm.
However, the point is that we will say, okay, I don't want to pay it. I'd rather do it myself. I've tried that. And when you're not educated, yeah, okay, people tell you, okay, you can write letters. But then when you write those letters, what are you supposed to say?
Right.
Then when you get the response,
Right.
what are you supposed to do?
Mm-hmm.
These are information we don't know.
Yeah.
We can YouTube and people will give you little, but they do not give you all
Right.
from the beginning to the end. Or even like the middle part. So they're always like, okay, I'll tell you so much.
Yeah.
And then you do it. But that's just like if I go to jail and either I say, oh, I'm going to represent myself. Of course, you can represent yourself.
Yeah.
But I think if I could afford to even pay an attorney, I'd rather have the attorney do it for me. Because at the end of the day, that's what they went to school for.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, so in going back into saying the beginning of your question,
Mm-hmm.
it's just knowing.
Mm-hmm.
Knowing. And knowing when you know everything, the ins and the outs, is
Yeah.
important.
Yeah.
People, what I think, have a problem is when they send that first letter out and they want a response like, I'm going to take it off. Well, the thing is, it took 90 days to even get on your report.
Right.
So it is a process.
Right.
People have to be patient. That's what
That's good.
people don't. People
That's
want
good.
instant popcorn. You know, I put it in the microwave and boom,
Yeah.
boom, boom.
Yeah.
No, nothing is going to be instant.
Because it wasn't instant for you to get
Exactly.
it. It wasn't instant for it to be, built on your credit. I think that's important because that's something that we really need to drive home because people have no patience, and also the importance of investing in you.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Investing in your life for the future.
Yes.
And your future legacy, right? Generations to come.
Yes.
And you see a lot for our community, as the Black community. That's something that I feel like it's very valuable for us to know. We're building a legacy, and now I'm investing in. Like, I can take the time to buy the newest phone. I can take the time to buy, go out with my friends. It's all about prioritizing what I want for the future.
Right.
So I think that's important. What you were saying, like people were like, "Oh, I don't have the money," but it's like it's not just you're paying me. Like, I'm not trying to just come up off of you. This is really you investing in your life,
Right.
And investing in your future.
But even going here, we can get a job,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm not going to say a black and white thing, but let's just say a knowledge thing. We can get on the job and say, okay, the job will pay 3% for 401k.
Mm-hmm.
We sit there, we let them take it out of our check.
Mm-hmm.
We have no clue where our money is going,
Right.
what we're investing. Right. Yeah, we can look into it,
Mm-hmm.
but as soon as you start talking about credit
Yeah.
and being patient
Yeah.
and holding on, or because I'm saying I'm going to help you,
Yeah.
then they look at it like it's a scam.
Yeah.
It's something
Yeah.
to this.
Mm-hmm.
So it kind of offends me because I'm trying to look at it as I'm educating you.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, when you go try to purchase that home
Mm-hmm.
or that car,
Mm-hmm.
you're going to have to go get a co-sign,
Yeah.
or you're going to get that denial letter, and then you're going to be looking like, oh, I need help now.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think, and also for us as a community, I'll go back to that because we have this, I want to say this ideology of not trusting one another.
Yes.
We'll trust a brand. I want to say, try to be politically correct. You'll trust the brand, right? You'll trust someone and be like, oh, I trust this entity, like, to do this, that, and the third, but I won't trust my fellow brother and sister to, like, really look out for me. And, of course, there's people out there that do things that are shady. We're not saying that stuff doesn't exist and that you should investigate to the fullest level for yourself to be comfortable working with someone, but that doesn't mean you should put a blanket, a blanket of you trying to scam me immediately, because, and I think that was important too when you said when you said like people want it instant and they don't want to wait. Like this is not that culture. You know, we think about the culture we're in with social media, with everything happening so technology is so fast. It's like why is it taking you that long? Of course. To clear my credit. It's like, didn't it take you 10 years to build that bad credit? Like, what do you mean?
Exactly.
You know, so I think it's important for us to really seek helping one another and seeing our brother as our brother or our sister, you know, and not seeing as a total like they're trying to take everything from me. How could I trust somebody else and not trust our community? And we need these kinds of conversations. I think for me, I think it's important to see a black face, a black woman coming in who is educated, knowing about this stuff, and being honest. Because I'll have a different conversation with you than you will have a banker.
Right.
That's a different color. I want just to say that.
Yeah.
Because you coming in the room, you can be real with. Like I feel like there's a connection. Like you feel like, okay, let me keep it real with you. Let's be 100% honest here. Versus I'm sitting across from a banker that gotta tell me like, look, your credit is looking.
Right.
Or they'll sugarcoating it or talking around it. You come in and like, hey, like no sis, like no, bro, like this is a real thing. How important was that for you? Like, just thinking about us as a people, like bringing that knowledge.
Is very important.
Mm-hmm.
And even how I even started doing this, it's funny because me and my husband talking about purchasing a home.
Yeah.
So we started looking at our credit, and it was like, one thing we don't know, and I'm learning. Like, I had a friend that she talked about adding her kids onto her credit card, right? They're 18 years old. She's adding them.
Right.
So when they go apply, they have already established credit.
Yeah.
Now, my son, I have 120. I tried to run his credit, nothing. But had somebody told me, hey, add them on. Not a bad, I mean, if you're late and all that, no, I wouldn't say. But if you have decent credit, if I had added my son when he turned 18 by the time, now he's 20, he would be having a credit score. Because the lowest you can go is 300.
Right.
You know, the highest is 850. So, I mean, just imagine when he runs his credit. So, like, when he goes to try to get a car, once again, bad credit, no credit, it's about the same. And in the banker's eye.
Right.
So now that now I've added, you get what I'm saying? I had to add it because these are trade lines. Never knew this.
Yeah.
Never said, oh, let me get him a secured Visa, MasterCard. Never. But even with that, what history are they showing?
That's important. I think that when you're saying that, like we were talking about earlier about legacy, because you're thinking about the legacy for your children and what you want to leave. And you may be out there, and this may sound like very intimidating information, but I feel like it's vital for us, and to know that once you have the knowledge, you'll be able to do it. And when you said that, I'm like, man, people don't think about that stuff because they've just not told. Like that information is literally not shared.
No.
And now you have. That's why I'm glad I have you to bring this to the community, because now you can have open discussions. Like you can be, and I think you have open and honest discussions with your children about your shortcomings too. Like about like, hey, I made bad decisions when I was younger, like with my credit, and I want to teach you the vital importance of credit and how it affects your life moving forward. Like you want nice things, right? You don't want to have to pay an astronomical amount of interest. You know what I mean? Like, do you really want to do those things? And really letting them know, I think that's good just to have that level of transparency. Right. Because the next generation, they really are, I don't know if they think about this kind of stuff. No.
Mom and Dad,
I didn't. Because I did it, you're more thinking like, my mom or dad will take care of it, but really, just talking to them about it. Like, do you have those conversations with your kids now, like about credit?
Now.
Now.
And I mean, like even, okay, so even making a point is, okay, like my daughter, I've gotten them even a bank account. Why? So they can get the importance of going to the store, using their ATM card. Now, even making better decisions on
Right.
what you purchase. It's easy for the
Right.
kids to put the chips and the sodas
Right.
because I'm paying for it. But
Right.
when it's theirs, their decision is a whole lot different. Like, maybe I don't want that. But had someone had showed me the importance of paying bills, okay, you can negotiate a lot of times, especially now with the corona, or the COVID-19. I don't know. But I mean, even now they're more sensitive in making payment arrangements or putting it at the back end, like car notes, and we're sitting up here being embarrassed. Oh, I can't pay it. I just shut my window. No, it's not. It's not going to escape that you're late.
I like that. Don't run from the problem.
Right.
Face it.
Basic communication.
Let's face it. Let's deal with it because it's not going to go away. Hiding is never going to. It's going. You're going to open the curtains and the problem's going to be like, hey, welcome back.
Right.
You took a couple days off. That's real. And I think when you say you're giving your kids the tools that you never had, and I think that's so amazing and valuable because when we learn from our mistakes, we learn and we do better, the next generation does better. And that's what our goal here is on on this channel. That's what I'm about, like seeing the next generation thrive. Because these are conversations that, the older generation don't normally want to talk. Like my parents didn't talk to me about credit. They didn't talk to me about, all I knew is, you should pay your bills on time. Make sure you pay your bills. Make sure you pay them on time. There's a lot of things I learned by default of life. Like, okay, now you're going out, you're living on your own, you're paying your bills, you're taking care of things. But what I don't fault my parents because they weren't educated on that either. And you just think about the generations of us in America, right? Mm-hmm. We, as Black people, we just need to work
and buy a home
at some point. And if you were blessed to have a parent, an older parent that maybe had a pension, or maybe went to the military, they were able to purchase a home for a low price and keep it in their family, for generations, and that's a blessing. It is a blessing but we're not taught to think beyond. And a lot of times, that's just the truth of it. Like, we're not, and now we're changing the narrative, and I think you're taking, what I like about, having this conversation with you, Adrienne, is that you're taking that stigma off of having bad credit. Like, really letting people know, you're not alone.
Right.
I think that's what I want to drive home to. You're not alone. If you're out there and you're dealing with your credit, and it's tough, you're dealing with creditors, you feel like it's like there's no way out, or I don't want to deal with, I don't want to face it because I feel like, for me, I knew it was like, man, I feel kind of dumb because I'm older now. I should know these things.
Right.
But it's like, okay, but you don't.
Right.
What are you going to do now moving forward? And I feel like having this conversation with you is important because it makes people feel better about themselves, knowing, and then you putting yourself out there like, hey, I made those choices too.
Right.
Like, how important is it for you in the business that you're in to be transparent with those that you work with?
Very. Because a lot of times, like I had a coworker, and I was telling her what I did. Because I have a 9-to-5.
Yeah.
But this is what I do, like I said,
as well.
Yeah, because with this situation, 2020, we can look at it negative, but it's also positive because this is when I decided, let me get myself together. And I've been helping people. But going back to this, the first thing that she wanted to do was to do a bankruptcy. Why? Because, once again, it was told to her, if you got this much debt, just go bankrupt and whatever. But what people don't understand, that's like a Band-Aid, and it helps that situation at that moment. But when you go and try to get an apartment, just an apartment, or, a home, after a year or so you can go get a home, okay, that's fine, but what if you're not?
Yeah.
What if you want to go get a car? Just the simplest thing, that bankruptcy does not look good. And to get it off, anything negative can be removed. Takes a process.
Yeah.
Some could take from 30 days, some could take almost a year. It just depends on the creditor or how you do it.
Yeah.
So, I mean, we can have a bookie to, pay them to scrub our credit and give them $5,000,
Keep it real.
$6,000. I'm being
Keep
real.
it real.
I was there.
Yes, keep
You
it
know, one of
real.
them hard. They was like, I got, my cousin do it in the basement, and I did that. And then the thing was, I'm trying to find out. Nothing had happened. Nothing changed. And then when it did change, it got right back on. And I was like, wait a minute. Why did I pay all this money for? I want this, what I do, I can say that once it comes off, because it's legally done, and we work with credit attorneys, it don't come back.
Right.
Because we're legally doing it correctly. That's why it's a process. Yes, we could get somebody to take it off within 30, 40, 60 days, but I would still be nervous to somebody at the door because some of them report it as fraud, knowing that it is you, or they'll go get a police report. My thing is, it's time out to stop doing these shortcuts.
Come on.
Because the shortcuts don't always be good at the end
of it.
So my thing is, yes, it's okay at the time, the moment, but no, let's do it right. Let's do it legally. Let's educate our kids. Let's educate ourselves. Because me personally, the age I am, who wants to ask their dad, hey, can you go sign a card? No. I should be able to even be stable enough to help my kids. But when I'm not stable, I can't even help my kids.
That's true.
Yeah, I can educate them. But if I don't even stop to take time and say, okay, let me get my credit. Oh, I'll do it next week. I'll do it next year. And I get calls all the time. Hey, what should I do? I tell them, okay, call me back. Okay, I'll sign up. They sign, or don't even, and then they don't answer their call. They're not even, okay, I get it. Trust me. But once again, if you don't take that step, you're going to always go back in the circle.
It's a cycle. And when you were saying too, you said something that struck me and made me think about this, because we can be like, say, okay, you clean your credit up or whatever. If you don't have the new mindset and understanding the value of your credit, you can end up right back in the same situation.
Absolutely.
Right? So because the importance is that you are really learning that this is valuable, this is important, and how this all works. Because for me, like, it's like you're saying, you can pay Pookie to scrub it, but if you're gonna wind up doing it all over again, making the same mistakes because you didn't get the education, right? No one sat down and said, okay, no, like, you need to think about what you're doing. Like, this is what matters, this is what's affecting you. You're spending above what you make, right? Like, you need to put yourself on a budget. You need to, plan out things and big expenses. Like, all of those things, if you don't re-educate, because it's really about your mindset, right? That's for anything in life, right? It's really about changing your mind and your mind around a particular topic to go into the positive instead of the negative. Like, so that's when you said that struck me, because I feel like that's something that you have to do. We have to unlearn those bad behaviors. Because we're used to seeing our parents just, pay and spend. Like, you know what I mean? Like, buy this, and then they rack and debt again. Like, pay this off, but you use your credit card all over again because you know what I mean? You want to go splurge on whatever the case may be, and not understanding, okay, let me think about what I'm doing. Let me think about what I'm spending on. Let me think about how this is going to affect me again. And do I want to be right back here 2 years later? I sit down and imagine somebody come to you and you educate them, and they go through the whole process with you, and like 5 years later they get right back like, hey, sorry, can you clean my credit up again? You're like, wait, didn't we have a conversation? Like, that you have to take the time to really change your mind and take that in. And it's important. And I feel like even on this, we've been doing a Take the Leap series here. This is taking a leap too, to challenge yourself to really deal with your credit, deal with your finances. Those are taboo subjects. You know what I mean? Especially I feel like in our community, it's like a taboo. Like, girl, you ain't got, like, I don't know, my credit's a little funny. It's like, okay, it really isn't funny. You're not going to be able to afford the things that you want in life. If you are, it's going to be an astronomical amount of interest on it. Let's talk about that. Let's talk about interest and like how impactful that is on you when you have bad credit. Like, you might be able to get it, but think about how long you're going to take to pay it off.
But not even that. Okay, so with that, Me personally, I would rather have a higher score,
Mhm.
right?
Mhm.
And the thing is, what people don't know. Let's go from the beginning.
Mhm.
There's 5 components
Right.
of credit. So the first thing is payment history,
Mhm.
right? So the payment history is 35% of your scoring.
Okay.
Then it's payment utilization.
Okay.
That's 30%. So what that would be, that would be more like, your billing. So like you being maxed out.
Gotcha.
Okay.
Gotcha.
So your credit card being maxed out.
Mhm.
So like say for instance, if you have $500, $300 credit card and it's
Yeah.
Christmas, you max that out.
Mm.
You are then lowering your score about 90.
Mhm.
And you know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
30%
Yeah, you done went ham.
already.
Yeah.
So you're wondering like, okay, I was just at 600, now I'm at 500.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
And how quick that can happen.
within 30 days.
Yeah.
Because they're going to report it every 30 days.
Right, right.
So the thing is, I always tell people, like with the credit card, do a 10-30 rule. What's 10? You want to at least use 10% of your credit card.
Mhm.
Why? Because you want your creditors to know, hey, I still need credit.
Right.
Even if that's just getting gas.
Mm-hmm.
And then you don't want to pay it off.
Mhm.
Because if you pay it off, especially like a revolving credit, and I'll go into that, but even doing that is letting them know, oh, I don't need credit anymore.
Gotcha.
So even they'll decrease your score,
Yeah.
like your limit. So like if it was 500, they'll decrease it $100, so it's 400. So that also lowers your score.
Yeah.
So then the next thing is like the length.
Mm-hmm.
So the length that you have a card.
Mhm.
So like say for instance, oh, I finally got out of this mess.
Yeah.
Now I'm gonna close it. No. Don't close it. Because if you close it, now you don't have history.
Right. Gotcha.
You see what I'm saying? So not only it packs, so you have to have history, the utilization of how you using your card, then it's the length of it, then it's the increase. Now you want new credit.
Yeah.
So it's like a domino effect.
Yeah.
So now you want your increase. So when you go get that card or try to purchase a card, they look at all the top, the history, the length, how you're using your credit.
Yeah.
So then that determines on how many borrowers. So every time they go, or I want a Nissan, a Lexus, they're going to all these different car dealerships. That's lowering your points.
Yeah, because you're inquiring
10%.
everywhere.
But
Wow.
10% is major.
Yeah.
It's like 55 points.
Yeah.
So then the lastly is the mixture.
Yeah.
So if people don't know, you got to have history.
Mm-hmm.
You got to have the utilization.
Mm-hmm.
Then you got to have the length of time that you've had credit.
Okay.
So with the 5 components, that's the mixture.
Yeah.
And if you don't have all of them, like, okay, yeah, I got a credit card is maxed out, lower it to 30%. You will start seeing your card go down.
Yeah.
But your credit score will start going up. So these are little things that people don't know. When they say, okay, when you want to buy a home, you have to have 3 trade lines. Mm-hmm. So that's like revolving credit would be like a Best Buy, a Walmart card, something like that. Installment loan is like a personal loan, open end, a mortgage. So these are things that you want to get. People are like, oh, I don't need a credit card. Yes, you do.
Yeah.
And this
understanding the importance of it. Yeah, like knowing that's what I said about the education, knowing why you need it though.
Right.
You don't need it to just ball out. Like,
right.
let's go to Jamaica, girl. Let's go to, because that's what people really get credit cards and they don't really know how to use it to benefit themselves in the long run. Right. Because you're thinking of them right now. Like, I get this credit card, oh, I can swipe. Mm-hmm. Okay, wait, let me think that now. Oh, people are calling me. I gotta pay this back now. Let me do my overtime hours so I can pay this off. Right. Because now you're putting yourself under stress. Because I want to talk about how having bad credit and creditors calling you, that will weigh on your stress level, your psyche, your mental health. Yeah. You know what I mean? How it all entangles. Like everything comes together. You're like your family structure, your family dynamic. If you're married, when you're getting married. I want to talk about that too because those are conversations that people don't like to have.
And need to.
Like literally because now you're coming together with somebody and you are like when my husband and I got married, we have to have real conversations about my credit score. but it was necessary for us to understand the truth and the transparency and the honesty that we had to have with one another to say, this is what I have, what I'm bringing to the table. Okay, this is what I have. Let's figure out this thing. Yeah, I love you, you love me.
Right.
Are we gonna be able to live off that?
Mm-hmm.
No.
Right. And then when you talk about the interest part, so having lower score, you know, you could be trying to go purchase a car and pay 24% for interest. I mean, that's almost making your car note an extra $150 more than if I go in and I get 5%.
Right.
So I mean, I mean, I look at it like, once again, these are the decisions we have to make.
Yes.
Even like when I remember one time I wanted to get an apartment, and the lady had approved, but her conditions was, I need you to put more deposit.
Yeah.
And I was like, deposit, but I've never been late, and But she looked at my credit.
Yeah.
And it wasn't bad, but it wasn't good, but it was like, we just need a little extra. So that even made me think like, okay, let me get this together. Because if I gotta pay extra just to take care of me and my family, you know, like even like when I married my husband, he was like, oh, I don't have a credit card. I haven't prepaid. No, sir. We need to start building your credit. Because in order for both of us, because once we get it comes. So I don't want them to be like, okay, she's here, he's here, let's meet in the middle. Your interest is still going to be ridiculous when we both could be here and we can just ride on up.
Work together and understanding that that's important to have that conversation. And not be afraid to because it's your life. And it's going to affect you lifelong. Like, you're like, man, this is affecting my whole. It's affecting every part of my life. You getting a place to live, you purchasing a car, buying a home. If you want to do those things, buying property. You might want to do all these other things, and you're like, man, I didn't think that I would have to deal with all of this stuff. And sometimes those moments can be tough, but the best moments of our lives. When you get slapped with the truth and reality. And I feel like those are the moments. I always talk about divine moments. So here, it's divine. Because it's like, okay, even the bad things, because we think of this good thing. But when you had that moment, it's like an epiphany went off, and it changed your trajectory moving forward about credit and about changing your life for your family and for their future. So when I'm long gone from here, I know that my children's children's children will have a legacy of wealth, because they can start presenting them. Like, when you are paying, if you're paying so much interest and you're paying so much in debt, how are you building wealth? How do we build wealth doing that? There's no way.
Because you're paying over what you should be
paying.
So had you had stopped and fixed your credit, with the interest that you're paying, could have been the money that you paid to get it fixed before you went to go purchase that. And I mean, I know there's emergencies and things happen, but at the end of the day, it's just stopping and saying, let me just revisit this. Okay, I didn't pay this. So yes, you can negotiate and pay it off. But even doing that, if you don't even know, let me communicate, or I'm not going to send nothing to you until I get a letter saying you're going to take it off. Because you can pay it off all day long, and all it's going to say is paid, but it's still going to look bad. It's still going to look negative. So these are things that people don't talk about, or they told me they were going to take it off. Well, did you get it in writing? We can do stuff online. Once again, this line thing. But most of the time, I tell people do paper trace. Because you keep those papers. They have to, I certify. When I send those letters, I certify it. Why? Because they'll say, oh, we never got it. Oh, no, you're not that certified. Then they have to say, oh, well, let me look. Oh, here it is.
Because they're in the business to make money. Like, they're not in the business of helping you. Really. You are in the business of empowering. Once you're empowered, you're in the business of helping you. You're taking that on, And so that's important, and it's very, very vital. So I know we gave y'all a lot of information. I know we're giving you, this is a little low-key, a little free credit for credit class that you just took right now. I gave you a little, I told you I bring you the best, and they know what they're talking about, and they're educated. She low-key gave you a lot of nuggets. And she does this for a living. She does this
And you do it to help people. It's not just about taking from the community. And as you heard her talk so passionately about seeing people become everything that they need to be in this particular area, I am so grateful for you to come and just share your knowledge. And you did so well. You did so good. Just telling people about the importance of this topic and this subject. And I know it can be taboo and it can be uncomfortable, but it's real and we need to have it. And Adrienne has business and she has information for you and she wants to educate you and she wants to help you, but also we want to support her. We want to see her business grow and thrive and see our communities grow and be everything that it needs to be and everything that we could be to the greatest level, the greatest measure. So I want you to just tell them where they can find you, give them your information, your Facebook, your business information, so that the people know. We'll put it in the description box as well. But you can break it down and tell them where they can find you.
My name is Adrienne Williams Crutchfield, or Adrienne Crutchfield. Basically, I don't know. I don't have a website. I do it, but I don't.
You have a Facebook page.
I do have a page,
right?
Yes, but I do have IG.
Okay. So
I
give them
do
your Facebook and your IG.
Adrienne Crutchfield.
Oh, okay. So Adrienne Crutchfield on Facebook and IG. And we'll put the information in the description box below. She is open for consultations, for like if you want to reach out to her and just have a real conversation about your credit, she is open and available. We want you to reach out to her. We want you to utilize her information. This is good stuff. This will help you. This will grow your business, your life, your family's life. We talk about legacy. We want to see that happen for you. So don't miss this opportunity, okay? Like we said earlier, it's an investment. It's an investment in you. It's an investment in your life and your family. So reach out to Adrienne. Like don't take this as a whatever one off. I really want to encourage you to do that. And I really appreciate you for taking the time and just coming and speaking to the people because it's an important topic that we address. And I know that it's something that you are passionate about and that you love to do. So thank you so much for coming. And I want to say to you, if you love our content, you stay to the end, you need to go ahead and hit that subscribe button. And also go ahead and hit that notification bell so you will not miss one of our uploads. I know you love us here. Come on. Be a part of the family. Also, we know the world is a crazy place. We know that it is. But it is always good to be positive. And to all my Black queens and kings out there, I want to say, stay black, stay bold, stay bountiful, and stay blessed.